everyone, and welcome to the Gran Turismo weekly race guide. It's week 27 of 2021, and quite an interesting week, I'd say, in terms of tracks and combos. Questionable race C, but we'll get to that shortly. As you can see, we're in the Zeds again in the background, and we're at Suzuka East, which is, interesting to say the least. Let's have a look at the race details then. We're racing 7 laps here at Suzuka East. It's a grid start, and we are on the sports medium tyres. I'd say we're in the Zeds, so as always, it's the Fugu Z is the one to go for here. Shame the 370 isn't in. Maybe I can ask PD to put my car in. Who knows? Anyway, let's jump to the race then. Let's find out what happens, because this one is very much touring car-esque in terms of contact. Here we are then at the start. Flash your lights. I'm telling you now, flash your lights. Have some fun at the start. You can see everybody in the Fugu Z apart from Quinton, who's made a return, and Shelty, who is, of course, always different. But on the grid, charge control to 1. Just make sure you get a nice and easy start here. You can see that right there. We're going to set off. I actually changed gear a little bit too early here. As you see there, I short shift accidentally. I didn't mean to do that, but turn traction control off before you do change gear. You saw my brake bounce there. They're all in the description. It's -1 if you missed it briefly there. But heading into turn 1 then, you can see already contact between drivers there. You're going to have to be really careful with this. Now, I see Joe Eagle up ahead. I don't know this person. However, during the race, they are a bit contacty, let's put it that way. But through we go. You see the side-by-side action. Do not expect racing to be this clean. Quite a few of us know each other in this lobby. So, yeah, the racing is fairly clean in the grand scheme of it. However, in any normal daily race where it's completely 12 people at random, it's going to be carnage. It really is. A little tap there on Quinton. And then they turn in there, which confuses me. I assume it confused Quinton. Max power's gone outside here. I'm really going to have to lift here. Look at this. We go 3 wide and survive, just. But, yeah, it was a good move there by Mohammed there. The reverse Moses. No, it is the Moses maneuver, isn't it? We just went backwards. That's all that was. As we head towards turn 1. I will do a quick lap guide on this. Don't worry. It's coming up shortly as we head towards turn 1. Very scary corner turn 1, of course. As you see, somebody's gone off there. Who is that? Can we see their name? And not quite yet. That's Quinton sideways. And the 2 350s all sat there. It's the Dane there that was off. Token Crystal. And in we go. And again, look at this. It's very much... We've got contact, but we're racing clean. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of contact in this race as Token goes a little bit too wide there. So we're going to go down the inside. And then going to be the outside round here. This was scary. But, hey, I say we managed to get a clean race here. And we carry on up into P9 then. The reverse Steve Kerr position. And into the right we go. Just trying to bounce the car through here. This track is all about bounce. I think there was a little bit of contact there between Mohammed and Quinton. Mohammed actually does give this position up. Maybe he felt that he did wrong there. I'm not too sure. But you saw the brake lights just go on briefly there to let him, let Quinton go. And I go, yoink, I'll have a bit of that as well. So we go up into P8. Into turn 1 we go. We brake a little bit too early there. And then I try and recover it. But then I go... The release of the brake obviously affects me there. And max power went to Narnia. So, yeah, you can see how difficult it is at turn 1. Lots of people making mistakes there. I say we will go through it shortly. So we've advanced a bit further on here. Lap number 4 now. They go very quickly here. And just following through. And Joe... punched Jim Bob off there, it looks like. It was a real big push there. And so you see multiple contacts have happened now with that, Joe. It's not the last in this one. We are going to go into a lap guide now as well. So we're going to head towards turn 1. Now, in the Fugu Z, critically, you're braking just after the 100-meter board here, okay? And you're going to want to stay in 4th gear. It'll keep the balance of the car. If you drop to 3rd too quick, the weight of the rear will just shift, basically. So you see I'm just bouncing the brake in there, half braking all the way through, and then I drop to 3rd gear. It's just all about bounce. This whole combo is about bounce. It'll give you some good driver skill if you actually do time trial this, because here you shouldn't be using the brake. I'm using the brake because I'm behind somebody, and obviously I'm going to have to adjust my line slightly, but it's try not to use the brake. Just use your throttle, on and off the throttle through here. So I'm braking a little bit here. Obviously I'm offline at this point. I'm just trying to bring the car back. Also going to look for a move on Quinton. Realize I can't do it, so then I'm just dabbing the brakes again. Now this corner here, very critical. You do not brake for this corner. I braked, so I was going for the cutback, but Quinton read it very nicely. Do not brake for it. Normally, if you brake for that corner, you will understeer off. Critically, just let the car roll through the corner. It will lose its speed as you turn the tyres. Remember, the tyres will scrub as you turn right, so just be careful of that. Now, you may have just seen there was a little bit of contact there between Joe and the French driver. But going up to here, there's going to be a little bit more contact. And, well, we don't go through anywhere, but you can see a little bit of contact. And somebody's actually got to Narnia there. So, yeah, avoid running too wide on that last corner. Very common mistake to do. Quinton nearly lost it as well there. That's why we had a run on Quinton. However, that 350 down the straight, just a tiny bit better than the Fugu. It weighs a ton, so I wouldn't use it in the race, to be honest. It handles dreadfully. But in we go. We just shift to third gear a little bit too early. Notice how the car is more lively there because we're in third gear rather than fourth through the corner. But can we make a position here then? We're in P5. We don't want the curse position, of course. We're looking on the inside of Quinton. Not going to quite work out here. I had been trying to figure out where to overtake Quinton. Very hard to overtake here without contact. But we did give it a good go. We did have a good race with Quinton. See up ahead, Joe's actually pushed the French driver there completely off. So Quinton sees it, goes for the opportunistic move, which I think is fair. I try and follow suit here. And then through the left we go. And then Joe, again, is just going to push Quinton. Look at this. I don't know if they've just watched F1 recently at the Austrian Grand Prix and seen that, okay, you don't have to leave the space anymore, so I'm just going to push everyone off. I slightly tapped max power. That was accidental. Notice I lift there to make sure Max stays on. I wasn't going to get this position anyway, so I didn't let off. I knew Max was going to get that, so that's why I stayed full throttle. So, yeah, I think Joe just, yeah, that's one worrying thing I saw with that Austrian Grand Prix was the fact that maybe people would do that, and yeah, here we are. Let's head to race B then, where it gets very interesting. Oh, and one thing I did forget to say with race A, as I say, a lot of contact, so probably want to avoid if you don't like any contact at all. Anyway, we're at race B now, where you can actually race and have some really good moves put on you. As you can see, we're at Dragontrail Seaside, but in reverse, which is actually a really good track and has one of my favourite corners in the game at this circuit. And no, it's not the chicane of death, although it's a good corner in reverse as well. Let's have a look at the race details first of all. We're racing 4 laps here at Seaside 2. It's a rolling start, but long straight. Don't worry about it. I'm racing medium tyres. And you can also see we're in Group 3 machinery. Also, shout out to Driver's Room. I think this livery was Mungino's for the livery. So, yeah, we are applying livery to the cars now. I know a few people hated that. But, yeah, a very good race in my opinion. And you can actually have a good race with people here. So, yeah, let's jump to it now. We'll have a look at what happened in the race. Have a look if there's any deaths at that chicane. And also a lap guide as well. Here we are then at the start. As you can see, we've got Supra, Corvette, and then Supras for days. So the Supra is the best car here in Group 3, apparently. It's all the way up there on the leaderboards. However, Medi did put the FT1 up there. Usually when the Supra is good, the FT1 is good, to be honest with you. The Supra just carries a bit more speed, and I'm pretty sure, just off the top of my head, that the FT1 is just a bit better on the aero. So the S is to be really good for the FT1. Right, anyway, we're going to kick off with this race. So, nice, easy start. Quinton in the old Puggarino, wide boy, up ahead. Look at that. Look at the size of it. I'm going to head towards turn 1. Now, looking at rear view mirror, I want to actually give Jeff a shout out here. Go into the braking zone, outbrakes themselves just a tiny bit, but does the most important thing you can do, which is just brake in a straight line. If you know you can make the corner, it's just a tiny outbraking. Brakes in a straight line. Doesn't aim for me, brakes in a straight line. That way he's going to brake quicker and actually survive it. Now we're going to go towards the chicane of death here. Are we going to survive it? We're coming a little bit quick and yeah, along with Shelty, we hit the barrier, but it's not a full death. I don't count that as a death, but we're going to head to my favorite corner now. This corner here is a beautiful corner. This is such a technical corner. It's brilliant. I absolutely love that corner. We're going to leave there right behind Shelty here. So let's see what we can do versus Shelty. We're going to get a bit of bumper drafting here from Jeff, and we're going to bump draft Shelty, and then we're going to head in towards the S's here. Once again, these S's really good on this reverse layout as well. In towards the left we go. Got to get it far left as possible, and then look towards the right, and hopefully not understeer off into the barrier, which I have done myself quite a few times rather than shaming other people. I'll shame myself today, because, yeah, we all love you, Thomas, and your Catalonia one-time incident that I keep bringing up. Anyway, down the inside of Shelty we go. A little bit of oversteer, but we do get that move done and dusted, so through the left we go. I'm going to head up the hill and in towards this left-hander. Now, Jeff, just showing the nose there. Kind of hard to judge at that point whether they're going to go for the move or not. So just compromises me on the exits. If you're looking to overtake somebody and get them out slipstream, that's the way to do it. But we're going to head towards turn 1 and a lap guide now. I'm literally using curbs for the majority of this, by the way. So in the braking zone, literally look for that curb and then slam on the anchors. Now, you'd actually want to take a little bit of a wide line in towards the tight line. So there you go. Notice a later apex. The curb sort of brings the car around a little bit. Straighten up as fast as you can and accelerate out the corner. That is the way to do that corner, the way I've just demonstrated. I finally demonstrated something properly. So the chicane of death, what you do want to do is actually lift before you get to this curb, okay? You want the car to just be balanced through there. No understeer, no oversteer. Just lift off the accelerator so I can't speak here. Let the car roll through the corner, and then when you're about here, you then want to accelerate through. Notice how we carry the speed then. The car is very balanced because the weight is just central, and all fine. In towards this left-hander. Again, start of the curb. But you want to straight line the braking. It's very easy to follow the outside line here. Point towards the barrier, and then straight line brake it. Because then you're going to point towards the outside, and then you're going to come back across. That is the way to do that corner, okay? A lot of people try and take the outside line to get a good exit. It doesn't work. You'll end up heading offline and into that potential siding area where your tyres will get really dirty. And we have got to move on with the Norwegian here. So we're sort of going to be offline for this, but before the 50 is when you want to turn in for this corner. Because we're offline, we have to leave some space on the inside, of course. This first corner isn't that critical. This corner is very critical. You want to be on the left as much as possible here and then come across for the right. We're going for a run on the Norwegian here. And as I said earlier, be careful that barrier. It comes in close to the circuit. So if you do run wide, you're going to hit the barrier and just die. Anyway, in towards this left-hander. Start the curb again, or the 100-meter board. It's right above us here. Just after that, you want to brake. Now, again, we're taking an outside line. You saw my inside line earlier with the move on Sheltie. Around the outside we go here. And we get that move done on the FT1 driver. So this last corner, again, a good corner. I've said this a lot, but basically, you want to brake actually early for this, and you want to keep it tight. Tight on the left for a good run on the right. Because the left isn't that important. The left's only important to set up the right. The right, you need to get right. So we don't actually fully get to the left. We're going to be a bit more over to the left there. And then you want to accelerate through here as best as you can. So obviously, if you're tighter on the left, you've got a much better angle for the right. And then, yeah, winner, chicken dinner. Speaking of chicken dinner, somebody's about to get absolutely burnt by the chicane of death there. Razriri, unfortunately, died at the chicane. That was a full death, it looks like. Someone's got a penalty up there. That must be a barrier collision. But in we go. You notice how I take that corner again. I straight line brake in to then bring it across. So I point, straight line brake, head towards the outside of the corner, and then come back in. And that gives me a really good run on Go Eat Yellow Snow. No, I don't advise to do that. Do not eat yellow snow. Anyway, we get this corner slightly wrong, being on the inside. It's not a place I'm usually at for that corner. But coming through here, again, we've got to get it to the left and then in towards the right. And then Go Eat Yellow Snow, just kind of trying to push me off a little bit here. I really had to lift there to avoid going to the barrier with that contact. But at this point, I was like, no, you're not having this. So I broke as late as I possibly could. And yes, we do get that even so. And they're going to have a little bit of oversteer there. But unfortunately, we're about 3 years then off the P9 position. So we just advanced a bit further on. I was actually on for the fastest lap at this point. I was definitely on for it. But unfortunately, coming to the left here. And then the right. And we don't get it quite right. And we don't have slipstream, unfortunately. So we're going to head towards start-finish line. And we are still up on that fastest lap. However, look who takes it. Look who takes it. Wide boy. Wide boy takes it. But we do get a 37.906. So, you know, who's pace there. But that is going to be it for race B. So you can see you can have some good racing. It does spread out quite quickly, so you do have to be careful of that. But yeah, I like race B. As I say, it's got one of my favourite corners. Let's head to race C then, where one of my favourite corners also appears there. Welcome to Sardegna then. Layout B, but in reverse. And as you can see, we're also in Group 4 cars there in the background. So this combo, I don't think we've really used before. Maybe one of you can let me know if we have used it before. I could check my track stats, but I'm literally commentating on this right now. But even so, it's nice to have something different, I would say, again. However, the race details make it a little bit annoying. So as you can see, we're racing 8 laps here at Sardegna B2. It's a rolling start. Just be careful if you're at the back, if you're on that last corner. We're on racing hard tyres only, which should scream at you that there's no strategy. And then when you look at the fuel and tyre wear, ×2 and ×6 respectively, yeah, there's no strategy. It's an all-out sprint race in Group 4 here at this circuit. So we've got 3 sprint races, which I kind of disagree with to some extent. But even so, we've got it. It's something different. Let's then jump to the race. Let's find out exactly what happened here because, yeah, this is going to be kind of interesting in terms of the track guide, which I think you'll love, hopefully, because not everybody even knew my brake markers in the Discord. But yeah, let's jump to it now. Let's have a look at exactly what happened in terms of the race, overtakes, track guide, and all that good stuff. Here we are then at the start. As you can see, Scirocco. Then Shelty's in his, of course, Megane. Got a couple of Lancers in there. And then we go a bit further down. We've got a mixture of all sorts in there. Quinton's trying out the Ferrari. And I think he's putting in a little bit of effort there in terms of the Ferrari. However, we are in the Scirocco. And we did put quality time in mainly because I saw it was a sprint race. And I didn't really want to start at the back. And I thought, let's try and get towards the front. So, we're going to start off here, and I do a quick shift to second gear there. If you are in an FF car, I highly recommend you hit that shift up the minute you hit start, because you're going to get wheel spin and hit the limiter. And we are going to warm up our tyres. Remember, tyre wear means tyre temps as we head towards turn 1. We're getting very close to max range very, very quickly, and yeah, we get it stopped nice and easy here. So, we've got a line of cars, and let's see what we can do then in terms of the racing. Early on is where the best chance of overtaking is going to happen here, because it's going to split up very, very quickly in towards this very, very nice corner. I love this corner. I think it's amazing. It's very technical, and to get it right is really hard. Down towards the left-hander then. Doc Brown, max range, side by side. I really wouldn't recommend going on the outside for that corner. You lose all the speed because it's off camber there, and you can see that happen to max range. And we're actually going to have the run on Doc Brown here. This Scirocco needs a tiny bit of a nerf. I think everybody realizes this. Needs like 1% power reduction or whatever it might be, because it really, really is a strong car. It's easily the strongest FF car, and it's just doing very well at the moment. But through we go, up into P8. This was Wreckfest. We'd have won already, but in towards the right we go. And yeah, status quo for now, but we can see a Spaniard up ahead who's going to get involved in a bit of an accident with Jim Bob here. So in towards this right-hander, you can see a penalty up ahead. We will talk about penalties shortly. And then down the inside, the Spaniard goes. Just gets it slightly wrong, I think. And a slight tap on Jim Bob sends them off to Narnia, unfortunately. But they're also going to outbrake themselves down this hill. Very hard corner to get right, by the way. This is where nobody knows the brake marker, apparently. But hey, I had a brake marker straight off the bat when the Audi TT was the worst here. I tried my best to get it as strong as possible. And yeah, I did have one in mind already. So through we go, into the cursed position already. We're not staying there, of course, because zone 45 up ahead has a penalty. Whoa! That was close behind, wasn't it, with the Spaniard? My word, they broke quite a bit too late. But through we carry on. And yeah, we're going to catch up to the zone 45 penalty at 2.5 seconds. And this penalty zone is a bit Pepega, if I'm honest. I mean, imagine if you unghosted right there. That would have been a bit of carnage. But even so, it's P5. We're not doing too bad here at all. In towards the last corner then. This one, very hard to get right. Avoid going too wide at the exit. As you notice, I get it completely wrong. If I'd have gone further over the white line there. Big penalty. There are big, big penalties. You can see one in the distance there. That's Thunders. However, I think there's something happened between WDP and Thunders. We've not seen WDP in a while, by the way, so shout out to you. But Thunders decides he's had enough and goes into the barrier on the left. So P Tolly it is. And then straight to lap 8. And the lap guard as well, so I'm jumping straight in here. So you want to straight line the braking here. Basically, you notice how I took a wide line in. I'm going to straight line the braking at this point. Don't go on the grass. It will unsettle your car a little bit. And then I go in 4th gear in the Scirocco, and through we go. So yeah, in terms of the race, not much happened, as you can see here. So you come in through this corner here, you turn at the end of the curb, lift off a little bit, and then accelerate on. And then as you head into this corner, this is a very hard corner to get right. Notice I'm already braking. So I'm aiming for that apex, and you have to be braking before you hit that apex, that first apex. But you don't want to be on the apex. You want to take a wide-ish line in, so you get a nice line for this second part of the right-hander. Because if you go too tight, you're going to mess up the second part of that. Now, down this hill, the left-hand side, the barrier changes colour there, or changes material, whatever it is. Brake before that, just before that. That is where your brake marker is. If you brake on it, you're going to go off. You notice how I brake just before it there. We make the corner beautifully. Be careful on exit. It's very easy to go into that gravel and lose a whole load of speed, because this is very important, this bit. You're about to go uphill. You need to carry as much speed as possible. As you're heading towards this left-hander, you want to be aggressive as anything here. I'm braking last of the late breakers. I'm trying to brake as close to that red and white barrier as possible, because it's got a favoured camber for you. You want to take a wide line in as well. If you take a tight line in, you're going to run wide on exit. Tight line in, wide line in, and same 4th gear as well to avoid wheel spin. This right-hander requires early braking. That orange barrier on the right side, very useful. Brake just before that. You see, I've just gone on the brakes now. And you want to get a tight line now. This one is where you really need a tight line. And then you want to begin on that throttle. Avoid that gravel too much, because the barrier comes in there. There will be deaths there this week. There'll be more deaths there than there will be at the chicane of death, I imagine. As we continue through here. Slight lift on there, and then towards the left. And then at the end of the curb, is your brake marker here. Again, you want a tight line. You want to use all the camber in the world on that last corner here, because if you take a wide line, you're not going to carry any speed. You notice the camber there. If you use it all, you can accelerate through the corner. Nice and easy. But as you see, not much really happened in the race, and you can see on the track map as well, it's very wide open at this point. People make mistakes. People are learning the track because we don't use it very often. So you can have some good racing. It's just that it might be not very long, and I suppose that's why it's a 12-minute race maybe. I didn't mind this combo. Some people absolutely hate this combo. Personally, I'm a fan because it's got one of my favorite corners. But, you know, maybe some strategy would have helped out in terms of that race. That's going to be it for this week. One of the shortest weekly race guides we've ever had here on the channel. I do hope you've enjoyed it all the same. Please do give it a like if you did like that. It helps me out massively and costs you nothing. Do hit subscribe as well if you want to stay in touch with all the content. In terms of content now as well, Ollie is streaming about now or very soon. So there's a link there to Ollie's stream. Another video there if you want to check out the fastest Group 2 car. Did that very recently. That's an interesting one. But that's going to be it for me now, folks. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Au revoir. Farewell and thank you.